Manchester City are finished. At this point, this isn't the same City teams we've seen in recent years. There can't be any excuses today. The same Tottenham team that was massively criticised all over the socials, all throughout the media, in only beating Bodo in the Europa League semi-final. The same Tottenham team that went to Bodo away this year and got a 2-2 draw. Man City have just gone there with Ballon d'Or winner Rodri, with Erling Haaland, with Phil Foden, with Cherki, the same Manchester City that have done over £500 million alone in the last 12 months. The same Manchester City that have done £80 million alone this January transfer window. There can't be any excuse, because if that's Liverpool, that's you've done £400 million, it's not good enough. If that's Arsenal, you've done £1 billion in 5 years and won nothing. If that's Chelsea, that's £1 billion bottle jobs. If that's Spurs, it's Spursy. But when it's Man City, everything gets rushed under the carpet. It's paper over the cracks. Let's just call it for what it is. A 10-1 win against Exeter is expected because it's Exeter. And fair enough, you beat Newcastle away from home. But since then, you've lost to Manchester United in the league. You've drawn 3 games in the Premier League before that, and you've just gone away to Bodo Glimt, a team that only has a capacity of 7,000 in their stadium. As the actual city has under 100,000 people in it. It's a tiny. I've been there myself. I've witnessed how cold it is, and it is freezing. That's not an excuse. Erling Haaland is used to those conditions. What did he do today? What did any of the Man City players do? Rodri sent off. There can't be any more excuses for this Manchester City team. And I'll be honest with you, at this moment in time, I can actually see Pep Guardiola leaving at the end of the season. Because that Man City team is massively, massively underperforming. And they went very, very strong tonight. So I don't want to hear whatever excuse people are going to make. I don't want to hear it. Because at this point, this is a failure. This season, you can't spend that amount of money and go 2 years without winning a league title. Isn't that what they tell Arsenal fans? You can't do £400 million in a summer window and not win the league. Isn't that what they tell Liverpool fans? And Man City have done £500 million in 12 months. In 12 months. If that's my team, we are getting literally pumped all over the socials. Make sure you go down and drop a like on the video if you haven't already. And make sure you do hit that subscribe button. The road to 100,000 subscribers is well and truly on. Bodo Glimt 3. Yes, you heard that right. Bodo Glimt 3. Manchester City 1. That for me is massive. Massive. I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw the lineups, look, we can talk about the conditions all we want. We can talk about how cold it is there. We can talk about the, you know, they're not used to the atmosphere, whatever it may be. And it is a very noisy stadium considering it's only 7,000 capacity. But to have this team, and I'm going to bring up the team on the screen for you, just so you can see it, just in case if anyone hasn't seen this team. They have got Cherki, Reinders, Foden, Ballon d'Or winner Rodri, Erling Haaland, and Donnarumma. Now, a lot of people will say, Erling Haaland world-class, Foden on his day is world-class, Cherki has world-class ability, Donnarumma is world-class, and Rodri is world-class. Now, look at that Bodo team. Now, I recognise Berg because see him play against us when I was there. Other than that, I think that Hauge scored a good goal against us this season. Other than that, I don't really know too much about Bodo's players. Then look at the bench. Marmoush, come on. Ake, Jeremy Doku. We can talk about players that are out, whatever. Oscar Bob's going to leave this month. Nunes, they've still got a fullback who can play at right back. Centre-backs, yes, they're missing Vardiel, Stones and Diaz, you know, and Gonzalez is out injured and Savinho's out injured, whatever. That is still not an excuse. When you look at the match stats, right, Bodo had 8 less shots than Man City. Come away with the same amount of shots on target, 5 big chances created, and a higher XG. Now, yes, there might be an excuse because Rodri got sent off. But when he got sent off, they were already 3-1 down. So I don't want to hear that, you know. And just to add insult to injury, because Man City have lost, this means Arsenal have automatic qualification into the last 16 of the Champions League. So even if they don't go out there tonight and beat Inter Milan, they are still through to the next round. Whereas Manchester City in the Champions League have still got to play Galatasaray, which at this point, I don't know if City are going to beat them. And if they don't beat them, they may not end up inside the top 8, the top 9. They may have to go through the qualification process. At this point in time, I actually think Thomas Frank's Spurs could beat City. And that isn't even an exaggeration. As it stands, City are in 4th, right? If we beat Dortmund tonight, or if Inter Milan get a draw with City, they would drop down. If Man United win as well, City could be as low as 9th today. 8th or 9th. That then puts huge pressure on them to go and beat to go and beat Galatasaray, who, if they win today, would be on 12 points, which would mean there'd be a point between City and Galatasaray going into the final game week 8 of the league phase of the Champions League. And just to give you some context, Galatasaray tomorrow are playing Atletico Madrid at home in Turkey. So if they win tomorrow, which I don't necessarily think they will beat Atletico Madrid, but if they do for whatever reason, right, we could have a scenario where City have to beat Galatasaray, who have got Victor Osimhen, by the way. So if they lose, if they beat Atletico Madrid tomorrow, there could be huge problems come to the Etihad fixture. In terms of City tonight, I don't know what they're playing at. Like, Rodri sent off, fair play to Hogge, or how you pronounce it. Is it Hauge? 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. Frustration from City. Poor defending again from City. Is Guardiola running out of ideas? All I'm saying is, right, you might be missing centre-backs. You might be missing some players. But Bodo Glimt don't earn anywhere near the amount of revenue that Man City earn. They have dropped £500 million on players. And Man City, once again, like we saw tonight, from both goals, before the third goal, we saw counter-attacks. They are massively vulnerable at the back, in midfield, to counter-attacks. And I'll be honest, I don't think you can start Rodri the way he's playing at the moment and the way City are playing at the moment. I think this 4-1-4-1 formation, I think they need to revert back to a 4-4-3, play Reinders a little bit deeper, and then play a 10. Now, I understand in possession, it doesn't necessarily look like that. You may see players chopping and changing positions. But come on, man. Haaland's a £150 million player. Cherki and Foden are £100 million players in this market. Reinders is a £60-70 million player. Rodri's probably a £100 million player. O'Reilly's probably 40 million. And Nori's 40 million. Donnarumma's 40 million. They've got over £500,000 on the pitch. And they've gone out there and lost. And they didn't just lose. They deserve to lose. By a country mile today, Manchester City deserve to lose. And there's a blueprint out there now on how you beat them. As long as you can counter-attack them, and as long as you have somewhat pace out wide, you're always going to cause them problems. Man City deserve to lose to Manchester United at the weekend. Listen, I don't think the way they're playing right now, I personally don't see them winning. I'll be honest. I know they're 2-0 up against Newcastle. If Newcastle score early, yes, they're going to have Gahey, right? But does that change much? Does that make them that much stronger at the back? Is Kuzanov and Gahey a better centre-back partnership than Diaz and Vardy out? No, it's not. They lost today. They lost to Manchester United. They've got Galatasaray, Spurs, Newcastle, Liverpool and Fulham. Now, the way this Premier League's going at the moment, anyone can beat anyone. And second half, I don't know what Rodri's playing at. They've got huge problems coming their way. We will be back later to cover the Spurs and Arsenal games. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon. I'm out.